My name's Daniel Renstrom. I'm here for Sharon, and I'm actually an aspiring grief recovery specialist myself. Sharon is amazing. I met her years ago, I want to say 8-9 years ago. What I love about Sharon is that the first time we met, it felt like we had already been friends for decades. She just makes you feel like you're part of her life when you meet her. I found the grief recovery program through church, and I'm very lucky that Sharon goes to the church that I go to. And I just remember I think they announced it one day that she was gonna be holding a couple classes, and I remember just thinking, oh man, this is my time to do this, even though I don't think I need to do it. And so I remember walking up to her and just asking her, do you think this is for me? Because I haven't had like any real big, serious things happen in my life. And she just made me feel like my experience not having my birth parents in my life for the first few years of my life was very serious, was a big thing. And it made me feel good. It made me feel like, oh, somebody really cares. Life before grief recovery was difficult, to say the least. I had a lot of baggage. I didn't really think that, I wouldn't say that I didn't need grief recovery, but I would definitely say that I didn't know that I needed it. I felt like my life was pretty much normal, like the things that had happened to me, as far as being adopted and not knowing my birth parents, and just having that kind of void there, not knowing who my parents were, even though I was adopted and raised with a family. There was this little thing kind of like just gnawing at me. I always felt like I wasn't present in my real life. I always felt like I was kind of outside looking in, like I should have had this different life and I wasn't really living it. It was scary because I grew up pretty much just holding everything in. I never shared anything I was feeling with anyone. You know, my dad raised me the whole don't cry, don't show your emotion, handshakes only, never giving me a hug. So once I started the process of grief recovery, it was all this emotion being let out that I had never experienced before. Having to deal with that was more than scary. What would I say? Terrifying? I felt almost like I'm this 27, 28-year-old, and now I'm having to re-experience what it's like to be an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old. I mean, just, it's really strange. Yeah, but yeah, it was scary. I am definitely a new person, having gone through the grief recovery process. It was life-changing. I remember telling Sharon one time that I completely just feel like I'm in touch with myself. I feel like I'm actually here in the present now. It gave me a sense of like actual life. I felt like I was living the life I should be living, you know? Before it felt like I was just stuck and trapped in this like stagnant nothing, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was just kind of going through the motions, doing every day as it goes, going to work, coming home, but not actually doing anything else, almost like a robot, you know? I think the question is, how many times have I done it? And how many more times will I do it? So yes again. The program is amazing. Every now and again, I feel like I sometimes get stuck in that rut again. It's really difficult to break that cycle. So if I go a long time without reading the Grief Recovery Handbook or talking to somebody about my emotion, because I have 20 some odd years of practice not sharing my emotion before I actually did grief recovery. So now it's still, if I go a little bit of time, it's so easy just to get kind of like brought back into that normal way of life. that I was used to before grief recovery. So yeah, I find it very helpful to actually either go to Sharon or going to one of her other colleagues to do the class again. It's very helpful for me to kind of like get back on track and get back to my now self. There's so many things that we go through in life on a day-to-day basis, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, a death in the family or some really crazy traumatic experience. A lot of the things that we tend to not grieve are what we consider the mundane things in life. Those things actually have a serious impact on our life, and I really feel if you're having that issue, or if you're going through something, any little thing that you feel like there's this little thing that's missing in my life, you definitely need grief recovery, and Sharon's the best person to help you through that process to figure those things out and get you back to your whole self.